So, here are all the parts of the costume, and I'm going to show you how it's put together. Here is the head part. It's just a hat. I'll get into that later. And this part goes over the head. I have an old sword. These gloves go under the latex gloves, which are here. I bought them from a spirit shop. And then I have an extra strip of fabric for a belt. And then all the parts of the costume are right here, but you can't really get a good visual on them because they're just laying all together. So I'll show you each part. Okay, so this is the first part. It's basically just sewn together like a tunic. And how you're going to do that is, probably can't see it, maybe you can, right here it's been sewn on the arms, and there's a neck hole. This is just rough cut, so it can easily rip. You could probably sew that better. You also are going to want to shred the bottom for effect, makes it look cooler. Making this, you're going to want to measure from your neck down to about your ankles, and that's like all the way down to here. These have just been shredded up more. So from there to your neck. Then just sew from about however big you want your armholes to be down to the bottom. I actually have mine cut so it kind of goes up to about your knee, so your legs, you have more mobility walking around in it. Then when you make the arms, I just did a rough cut, but basically measure out how long you want it to be this way, and you can just like lie down on a big piece of paper and measure the length of your arm. That's what I did anyway. And then measure down this way how long you want it to be. I wanted mine to have a very long opening because that's what it looked like in the movie. So just make like a giant pattern on a big piece of paper. Then you measure this from when you left it, after you sewed it. And then basically you sew up here along this line, and then you just sew it on like a circle. And you should have the tunic part. Second part is the jacket-like piece that I made. Now, when you're measuring this out from your neck down to however long you want it to be, it doesn't have to be the same length. Mine's actually shorter, so it gives the layered effect when you have it all together. When you're cutting this one out, basically you can do it the same way. You just measure it onto your body, and this has basically been cut as all one piece and sewn like that down the edge. So pretty much make it as a 2D, and then just sew it around down the side. After you have the coat and the tunic made, just get some extra fabric and cut it into a long strip as a belt, because that will go on over your coat. Then you have the shawl, which is basically just like a giant kind of a triangle shape. Like if you look at it, your shoulders would go right here, and you just cut out a measure for your head. Basically, cut out a hole for your head, put it on, and then cut it off however shape you want it to be. Mine's kind of like a diamond. Then go through and shred the edges again, and cut little holes in it to make it look kind of worn. and then it's pretty basic. The head, I've found with my experience for making this, is by far the hardest thing to recreate. But I had some help. Basically, you just want to keep the shape as best as you can. When you're making the head, you want to keep it with this kind of a shape, but not too ridiculous that it looks like you got a mailbox on your head. Also, when you cut the length, it wants to be relatively long down your body. I think mine goes down to about mid-thigh on me. Now, how I made mine is basically, I took a black baseball cap and I measured out as best I could white piece of construction paper and duct taped it to the head so it had the same shape. Then you want to get a piece of see-through fabric from whatever store, because it's hard to see when you're wearing this thing, and stick it in the top like that. And then I basically went over it with black Sharpie or something so it's not quite so visible when you're walking around. The top, however, can stay white because that doesn't really matter. You want to make this relatively long so you can tuck it in and you won't have it falling apart. Then you cut out, using the same black gauze fabric, your fabric that'll go over the head. It's basically cut out like a giant, hold on. It's basically cut out like a giant rectangle, shredded at the bottom as well. Then just basically sew up here on the back a little bit, not all the way down, just a little bit, so that this can hang in front. Like if your neck was right here, this goes over your shoulders when you're wearing it. And it basically just makes it very basic hood to go over this. So when you're wearing it, it gives the illusion